The Kinera Celest Wyvern to Qing? Let's talk about it. This IEM is sent to me out by Hifigo. I wanted to thank them for this. There will be links to purchase this in the YouTube notes. This is a approximately $25 IEM that I think is objectively really pretty, and I've really enjoyed my time testing this. It is very similar to the Kinera Celest Wyvern Abyss that I reviewed on channel about a month ago in a lot of different respects, so I'll be making a few comparisons to that in the video. Let's start by talking about the build quality of this pretty IEM. This is the 7Hz Critical 2. The next one over is the Wyvern Abyss. This one right here is the Wyvern Qing, and on the right is the Awful Magic 1. Let's compare the two Celeste IEMs. You'll notice their shape and design is very similar. It looks like they just kind of used the same mold and decided to make a blue, kind of like this teal green IEM instead. This, again, I like the shell and comfort of this IEM a great deal. I wanted to compare this to the Sound Note Zero. If you'll notice, there's really no lip on this. The Sound Note Zero 2 doesn't fit my ear very well. Well, this one does. I don't know, you have to kind of look at it and see what you think. This is comparison to the Magic 1. You'll notice it's a bit bigger than the Magic 1. I find both of these comfortable, but you know, comfort is one of those subjective kind of things. It does have a little lip around the nozzle, so ear tips are easy to fit on it. This faceplate, absolutely gorgeous, and it does have a nice little wing or lip right over here on the left. It's a nice looking, beautiful shell, and this is one of the best budget shell IE. The unboxing experience isn't too exciting. It's a small box, a little bit of artwork on the inside. The cable itself also isn't super exciting. It's kind of a cheap cable. There are different options. You can get a mic with this. It's, you know, it's not super exciting, but you know, it's a cable. It's a 2-pin cable at that. So there we go. So how does this sound? I used this all last night while I was goofing off playing some silly Android phone games. This is a nice IEM. It sounds pretty good. It fits in ear really well. There's no major fault to this IEM, and I've really enjoyed my time testing this. So let's go ahead and talk about some graphs, and so you guys can kind of see what this is like. But if I had to describe it in words real quick, it'd be slightly analytical, a little bit harmony, and a good overall nice sound signature, and it fits my preferences to a T. Alright, first of all, I wanted to show you the page of what you have. You can get this in blue, you can get it with the mic, you can get it with no mic. No, the cable does look a little bit different. This is the no mic version. The cable version does come in black. So it just kind of depends on what you need. All right, let's look at the graph. I mean, the graph is pretty nice. Channel matching is good. Nice 4 to 6K dip. Not a ton of extension in that upper air region, but a good solid bass shelf. You know, this is a nice IEM. I mean, there's a little bit of a dip here. I mean, if you normalize this at actually say around 650, you can kind of see what that might look like. A little bit bassy, possibly a little bit shouty, a little bit analytical leaning. But for me, for a budget set, this is a nice, pleasant tonality. Again, it didn't bother me. I could wear this for hours, and it's just kind of nice. Let's look at a few others. This is the Abyss versus the Qing. You know, you'll notice they're very similar graphs. Like this amount of variation through most of this here could even be almost unit variation, but you'll notice a little bit more 2K energy. Not much, just a tad, just a smidget. And you'll notice this is a little bit more analytical, but you're talking maybe half of the decibel to maybe 2, depending. So these are both really close. Like it wouldn't surprise me if it's the exact same driver. Very similar. Again, both solid IEMs. You know, personally, I like the Abyss a tiny bit better just because of the design. but I can see people like the Qing as well. So, kind of depends. There's other IEMs actually from Kinera Celest that I've reviewed on channel, and I actually like the Qing better. I mean, right here we have the Plutus Beast, and the Plutus Beast has a little bit more energy around that 1.5k. I don't know, I don't really like that as much. I think the Qing is probably a little bit more pleasant. I think some people might like the Plutus Beast. It does have a bone conduction driver, and it is pretty fun, but for the price and for the build quality, I think the Qing is a little bit better. Another few to look at, the Dark Phoenix and the Phoenix, they have this kind of weird V shape, a lot of energy at 1.5k, like the QDC Emperor. I don't know if you guys have seen that, the graph of that, but it's pretty much a lot like that. That amount of energy around 1k is not me. I mean, you can try that with some EQ and see what you think, but if we normalize this around 600, you can kind of see what we get there. It's almost like a muddy amount of bass and a ton of energy right there, which it's just not for me. It's a little bit not my style of IEM. If we look at other ones, this sounds actually cheaper than the Pandamon 2.0, and I think the shell size is way better. The Pandamon 2.0 is, I think another reviewer described it as like a more comfortable anemotic. It's a lot like that. Like, a lot of people like this really high, like 2 to 3k peak and just really scoop down mids. For me, the Qing is a little bit better, has a little bit more bass, has like just that acceptable amount of bass for me that I like. It sounds acceptable, everything sounds really pleasant, and it's all around just a little bit more energy and just a little bit better sounding. Although the Pandamon 2.0, I just don't think it was really worth the money, but the Qing definitely is. I think it's a superior IEM, and it's definitely a better value, at least in my opinion. Another one to look at, the KZ EDC Pro. I like the EDC Pro. I think the Qing is a little better. I don't know how much better, but I think it has a little bit more energy. It doesn't come across like its bass isn't as overpowering. It's a little bit more analytical, and I think with these cheaper drivers, sometimes a slightly, ever so slightly analytical sound can sometimes lift the technicalities, and just to lift that spice can make it sound just a tiny bit better. Maybe not a lot better, but definitely a tiny bit better. I also think it's more comfortable. Is it worth it for you to get one over the other? It might be. I mean, the EDC Pro to me is still a great banger set, but it's still kind of a poor set. I feel like I couldn't even really listen to it for more than a half an hour before I got annoyed. Whereas the Qing, it was chill. I liked it. It was enjoyable to test. It was fun. It's not something I would probably reach for that often, but I like that set a great deal, and I think it's better, and I think it justifies its a little bit extra price because of the design and the build quality. Another one to look at is the Truth or Hexon. Look how close these are. If you try the Truth or Hexon, this doesn't have enough bass for you. You might want to try the Wyvern Abyss. The dynamics, because it's a single dynamic driver, are a little better. But I mean, even here, you'll notice you have a little bit less 5 to 6k energy. Something to note, not as good of extension in that upper air. Hexa is like the king of air at this price point. Something to think about if you're really going for that really fine-tuned technicality style IEM at this price. Another one to look at is the Dulce. I've had the Dulce on desk for a while, and I'm actually just sending it back to their owner right now. I was able to do some A/B with this. I think the Qing is a lot better than the Dulce. I think it has a little bit more refined bass, a little bit better refined upper mids. I feel like it just does a really good job of things. You might like one or the other, but for me, the Qing was better, like quite a bit better. And the last one I wanted to show you is the Juno Titan S. I mean, the Juno Titan S is like the packaging king of the century, but its bass shelf is even lean. It doesn't feel great. It has a lot of energy around here. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these companies use the same drivers, and it probably costs them like just a couple dollars. So you're talking about, know, if you're talking about sonic quality, yeah, I like the Wyvern King better, and I think it's the better set to go based on, again, this region. This region has a little bit more engaging tonality. I just like it. I was able to listen to it a lot longer. Again, like Titan S2, just after like just listen to my test tracks, even barely, with just too bright, not right for me. But your mileage may vary, and fit for me on the Qing was just so much better. So that's kind of something to know. All right, let's rank this up. I mean, you'll notice this and the Abyss are very similar. The only really difference they have is that the Abyss has a little bit better bass shelf for me. They're both kind of have okay mids, decent highs, but nothing to shout about. Energy's actually pretty good. Note weight's not bad for a driver that price. Soundstage is just a little above average, and its resolution is okay. It's one of those IEMs that I wouldn't really reach for and go for. I don't think it's the exact best IEM out there in the world. Like, you could spend a little bit more money and get maybe an Awful Explorer, which I like a little bit better. That's kind of my go-to budget set. There's a few other sets that you might like, but again, it's a subjective hobby, and you got to find something that you like. So at $24, $25 IEM, that's pretty solid. Has a great build quality and a beautiful green shell. It's hard to deny it. It has a lot of great qualities and characteristics. I wouldn't necessarily say this is something that everybody has to go out for and buy, but if you're looking for a budget set and you're curious, is this pretty little set good? Yeah, absolutely. This is a great set, great value. I recommend it for its price, and I think you guys will like it. Give it a whirl, give it a try. And if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. You guys have a great day.
You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?